Hey everybody, and welcome back to Untethered. Cody and Angela here with you today. We're actually going to give you something just a little bit different this time, a little bit off the beaten path for us. It may even come off a little bit negative, but I know, Mr. Positivity over here. But we are kind of in the middle of something, and there's some concerning things going on that might impact you out there. If you're not in the mood to hear what may be construed as negative news, this may not be the video for you. Let's talk about the job market.
Mr. Tickers over here is going to tick around the whole time, so now you can continue.
You guys don't realize how many videos that we actually cut because there's dogs ticking in the background. So a while back when we were in Kentucky, we mentioned that we were laid off on the back end of 2022. This isn't to whine or complain or anything else. We've worked in this industry for a long time. Personally, I've been in it for nearly 20 years, so I know when times are good, everybody hires, wages go up. When things take a downturn, people get laid off, and that's where we find ourselves here today.
I might whine just a little bit. I want to reserve that.
If you're out there watching the news, you probably see that there's 9.5 million jobs open in the U.S., and wages are going up, and unemployment's non-existent. We're finding out that that may not be as it seems, and things may not be exactly as they're portrayed out in the media. And there's a couple of things that are affecting job seekers right now we wanted to make you aware of.
I caught another one.
We caught another ticker. So first things first, this is something that Angela and I have both experienced in the last couple of months of looking for work, are scam jobs. I mean, I've seen it to where I have sent a resume off for a job that kind of fits my expertise and my background, and within 24 hours I get an offer. Oh, we're so impressed with your resume. We want to pay you. I think one of the offers I got was like $75 or $80 an hour. No questions asked.
You should have taken that.
No interview. That's kind of a red flag to me.
I got it. I made us a red flag.
What?
I made a red flag. We were talking about red flags.
For visual purposes.
It's your grill brush.
That's my grill brush. All
I
right.
thought that it would help with this demonstration.
But we do see a lot of red flags, and it's very interesting that in my personal experience, I've always had to apply for a job, interview for a job, sometimes twice, maybe 3 times, maybe travel somewhere to interview for that job. And these people are just ready to hand out a 6-figure salary out of nowhere. That's your first red flag. I mean, that's a clue right there, right? I've seen some things like reply with your information and we're going to advance you $2,500 or $3,000 to set up your home office. Again, never talked to these people, never did a Zoom call. This is completely sight unseen office and then a resume. So we're going to cue the red flag because that's a red flag. What's really interesting is when you start asking questions or you ask to set up a phone call or a Zoom, they usually get very defensive, very angry, and they just badger you because they want your name, your address, your bank account, your routing number, everything you would normally fill out so that they can send you a check to set up your home office.
Now, I'll be honest. I pushed some of them further just to see what questions they ask. You can push back a little bit and they'll be like, okay, well, let's move forward. And then by the second time you push back, they're very angry.
There's a lot of red flags when people start offering you cash advances before you even start working. So there's also a situation with the scams where they want you to click on a link and fill out a background check or a credit check, which is not abnormal for hiring. But whenever they ask you to pay, you need to click on this link and pay X amount of dollars for a credit and background check because these are very expensive items that cost the company a lot of money and we just can't take any risk. I've never had a company ask me to pay for my own background check. I'm not going to start now. And to me, that's a big red flag.
And a lot of that was before you really got into the details of the job.
What they can do, if you click on the wrong link, they can see everything you're doing on your computer down to the passwords you're typing into your bank account. So you got to be really careful. I know a lot of people use video chat apps. There's 3 or 4 really big ones out there. If they're asking you to download some obscure app and allow a whole bunch of permissions, I'm not telling you to walk away from the opportunity. I'm just advising you to ask someone to speak to you on the phone. Generally, if you ask them to speak on the phone and they decline it, especially if the job sounds really lucrative, odds are it's a red flag. If it's a real person and a real job, they're probably going to be willing to get on the phone and talk through the steps, or maybe use a different app that you're more comfortable with. But I've had some people ask for some apps that I've never heard of that had horrible ratings on the App Store, and then when you actually download them, they want you to open up all these permissions and basically give you the keys to the kingdom of your smartphone or your computer. They can rob you blind. Along the same note with the scams, watch out for anybody asking for a fee. A lot of these are fake jobs, and all they want to do is channel you to a website where you pay someone a ridiculous amount of money to write a resume that you've already written. So watch out for the red flags. Remember the untethered rule. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And just ask questions. And if people are unwilling to answer those questions, they're probably not real people at worst. And at best, it's probably a company you don't want to work with.
So this next one took me completely off guard. Had never heard of this before. And now there's a lot of articles out there, which we are going to drop some links in the description just in case you want to do a little more research, but you can always search it. And that's ghost jobs.
If you haven't heard of that, ghost jobs are jobs that are out there not for the purpose of hiring people. There's a couple of purposes that people use ghost jobs for. So in 2022, Clarify Capital did a study and found that 27% of 1,000 hiring managers were posting ghost jobs. And they leave these ghost jobs open for an average of about 4 months. And there's a few different reasons they do that. Sometimes they have an overworked workforce in their office currently, and they're saying, hey manager, we're overworked, we can't get it all done, we need some help. They don't really want to hire anybody so they can keep their overhead low, but they'll post a job online so that the people that work in the office can say, oh, well, they're trying to get me help. And it's just to pacify the people that are getting killed every day with a workload that's way too heavy for them, so they think, oh, the company's trying to help. They're not actually trying to hire anyone. Another reason is to make people that currently work in the organization, or potentially investors, or potentially people looking to work there, they want to make it look like business is booming and things are going great.
Or they're looking to correct salaries where they overpaid maybe a couple of years ago when things were so crazy. I feel like that's probably a big one. The whole thing is crazy to us, that there's even a definition, and that now it's being recognized and people are now saying, yeah, this is a thing.
Just be aware that ghost jobs are out there, and just because you're applying to it and you didn't get any kind of response, it doesn't mean you did something wrong or that there's anything wrong on your side necessarily. It might just be a ghost job. So in my opinion, apply early and apply often. If you're looking for work, don't just apply for those 1 or 2 jobs that you're really excited about. Really dig in, spend some time in Reach, and apply to a lot of jobs.
Mr. Tickers was on the loose again.
So now that Charlie's back, since we had to grab him because the 2 dogs that love to lay around and be lazy all day, they just tend to start walking around the house when the camera's on. So
stomping.
So apologize for that. So Charlie,
he may look little, but he stomps loudly.
So Charlie, what's next? Are we going to talk about AI?
Let's talk about AI.
Let's talk about AI, or artificial intelligence. So an article from The Guardian last year actually talked about how at least a third of U.S. employers use AI, or artificial intelligence, to pre-scan applicants. Now we've got to think about AI, and it may not be a bad thing, but I don't think employers really have it figured out yet. A lot of employers in surveys have actually said that they know they're overlooking great candidates by using AI. So what happens is a ton of applications go in, it gets fed into artificial intelligence, and it's scanning for keywords or buzzwords or what have you, and the computer kind of selects its top people, and then the employers start calling for interviews. You might be asking yourself, how do you know what buzzwords to use or keywords to use in the application process? Well, the short answer is you don't. Unless you are very techie and you have a really good understanding of AI, you probably don't know what the right words are to put into your application or your resume. There's no clear answer for this, and there's really not a good way to get around it. It's probably the wave of the future, and hopefully it improves. But just know, a lot of times your application may not be getting to a real person. So I don't want anyone out there in YouTube land to feel alone or like nobody's answering you, because we've had those periods of self-doubt of, Why can't we find the job? Well, there's not as many jobs out there as you think. Keep fighting the good fight, keep pushing those applications out. Eventually, us and you, if you're out there looking, we're going to find a good company, because those good companies are still out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's still hope. All hope isn't lost. We've worked for some great organizations, and they're still out there. We're going to find one, and I bet you will too if you just stick with it and keep your head up.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm a nice guy. Thanks, babe. So, things may not be what they seem, but let's talk about what's next for us. We're going to stay the course. We're going to keep on keeping on. Regardless of if we have to change industries or do something a little bit different than we've done in the past, we've had the best year of our life this past year out here in the full-time RV world. And we have no plans on stopping. We're committed to bringing you guys the best videos we can week after week after week, because we love what we're doing. The comments, the subscriptions, the love you guys send our way, that really keeps us going, even though some days we may seem a little bit discouraged over this job thing.
It's therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic, and sometimes RV life can feel a little bit isolated, but this is a great way for us not to feel isolated out on the road. We thank you guys for your support. So if you guys have an idea, or if there's something we may have missed, let us know in the comments.
What are you seeing out there if you're hunting?
We're really excited about the content that we have coming your way. Thanks for sticking with us through this negative video, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.